Okay, so what are we doing? Well, we are making Max a reading light. And I guess the first question is why? Well, because I want to. There's one feature that every kid must have on their reading light, and that's little faders for the red, green, blue, white, and brightness. You got to be able to tinker. And so let me kind of show you that first. Just quick little infusion. First draft. But this is the idea, kind of like an audio mixer, except for this is a light bulb mixer, I guess you could say. So I want the kid to be able to select the colors he wants, and I also we generally read like he'll read 15 minutes, and then me and the wife, or the wife will read 15 minutes, like a more aggressive book, and more challenging book, I should say. And after that 30 minutes, he pretty much falls asleep or starts to. Well, then I want the lights to dim slowly. Let's say over, I don't know, an hour, and that way the lights aren't on all freaking night. And I don't want it to be a hard cut off, because if there's a hard cut off, that might wake him up. No one needs the lights blinking while they're sleeping. So that's the general approach to it. And, the number one reason is because I want to, because this is fun. So I came up with this, I came up with this idea. I stole this idea. And you see this with the little toddler toys with the trains. They're made out of wood and they're hooked together. There's a word for this. Tongue and groove. Fun and groove, something. Oh, I'm all coffee. Whatever. All right, so the idea was to put a bunch of those together. And so we got this thing. Let me see if I can get this whole thing in there. This is a start. What we've done, or we as in both of me, we got the little rope LEDs, whatever you call these things, LED strips, 50/50s maybe. Maybe it says. I don't know. Anyway, so I glued 2 sets of those in there. 2 sets is probably overkill. This is glow-in-the-dark PLA. Why? I don't know. And it didn't quite fit as nicely together as I thought it would. Like I worked hard and did the old thing where you print 10 different versions until you get the PLA mechanically to fit right. But even then, I don't know if you probably can't see it here, but there's some imperfections there. Whatever. I'm also not happy about. I went very square. It's kind of a prototype, and this should have been rounded, because if he slips and falls on it, bashes his face, it might cut him. So maybe I can just sand that down or something. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I need to reprint it. Hope not, but we'll see. So the general gist, let's go back to where I'm at right now. And because this is not, we're not starting at 0 here. We're starting at near 0. So this is the first draft. This is export out of Altium. Let me show you the board. Okay, so there's the 2D PCB mode. And it's very simple. Let's go to the schematic. Real straightforward. So I'm using an RJ45 connector. I want to see if I can do that. One, I've never really used RJ45s, and I wanted an excuse to use them, but I'm not using differentials or any other intended purpose. I just wanted readily available connectors, and more importantly, readily available cables. Network cables are cheap. You can buy them for nothing. But without a doubt, buying robust connectors that don't pop out, that aren't. I have the option to go low noise if I really have to. I mean, we can go differential if we want to. I could, for this board, which we're going to have 2 boards. We're going to have the Brain, which is the ESP32 board, which I don't know if I have that open or not, and it's not done anyway, but like any of this is done. But, so at the moment, I'm just going straight up analog. We're pumping 3 volts from the Brain to here, pin 2 on the, I don't have my mouse set up correctly yet. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, so 3 volts is coming from ESP32, and then we're going to bust that up into these 5 faders. The faders is this section here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you got the old, I call it the separator, just a resistor to isolate the net. So the idea would be, if I didn't have this resistor here, so voltage is, I guess current, whatever, we got voltage here. If this resistor was 0, because it doesn't exist, and the fader was set to 0, well then this whole net right here goes to 0. We don't want that. So we need a little separatizer. And so I did tests, and 100 ohms was fine. So whatever. And I did that in LT Spice. Maybe I should show you that. That's another video. If you guys are curious, let me know. But so real simple thing. Just 3 volts going through a 100 ohm resistor into a fader. And the fader, let me show you what that is. So it's one of these contraptions. It actually came from what do you call it? AliExpress, on a little red PCB with little breakouts and stuff. And they already have their little separator resistors too by default. If you can see that. Oh, I'm flipping you off. Take that, people. Little SMD resistors. So it's basically that. Now you can actually get these on DigiKey for, I think I found them for like $1.80 a piece. Because right now everything's in shortage, but they're actually available in decent quantities. like $1.80. I think it was 80 cents for the board and this thing on AliExpress. So I really didn't save much money, but I didn't really know. I had trouble finding them on on DigiKey. Sometimes you just search for like linear potentiometer, nothing came up. So I did something wrong, and that happens. The lesson there, by the way, is use Google. Okay, let's try that real quick. We have time to kill. So let's go to push that button. Oh boy, what's all this? So if you go to DigiKey, and for all I know, I'll just find it right away. Let's just say, I think it's 60 millimeter, even though it's 75. I don't know. 60 millimeter linear potentiometer. Let's see what that does. So you got rotary and see, it didn't do what I thought it would. But I could do that search in Google for that same exact phrase, and it popped right up in DigiKey of all things. So, you know, sometimes that's a trick I've used a lot, where if you're trying to navigate through DigiKey and find what you need, it can be tricky sometimes. So here's one for $1.91 and quantity $1.67. So that's pretty cool. But here's the big thing, is me finding the data sheets for this stupid thing. Of AliExpress, you just don't know what you're gonna get. Like I don't even know if I found the right one. Like it's questionable. Well, with this, we're using Borns. You know, they're a real deal company, and let's see if they have a drawing. No, okay, but they're a real deal company, so we can find out probably everything we need to know, and at least trust. Most likely, if we were to make a custom footprint with this right here, it's going to work. So it makes me a little nervous. Usually, I've been done really well with the gray market parts for my stuff, and it's probably important to point out, you know, for the most part, you know, what I'm doing is I'm practicing building products, designing products. Doing a one-off of this, I could easily do in a totally simpler way. I don't need RJ45s and this and that. And you don't really even need PCBs. You can throw them on a breadboard or something. Well, I want to make stuff that, let's just say I wanted to make 100 or 1,000 of these. I want to be moving in the direction of doing that, like be an iteration or 10 away from being able to crank out a bunch of these if I want to. So, and I think it's just more fun to design with constraints. I mean, I could put this thing in a shoebox, but it's a lot funner to fit it in a tighter space. Let me kind of show you that. So, like, for example, here's this fader, the fader board, in a quick box I whipped up yesterday, just 2 seconds. By the way, to do a box, Fusion has a feature for create box, and within 2 seconds you can make this thing. So anyway, real simple. If you want to know more details on that, just let me know down in the comments. But this board right here is like 99.5 millimeters wide, and that's because JLC PCB, they will after you go over 100, they charge you a lot more money, and I say a lot more, like $5 extra. And you could say, well, Brandon, why don't you just pay the $5 and go with the design you like? Like, that's real cute. That's fun and all. I want to have constraints. I want rules. And here's the thing, the 100 millimeter board, like if you want that manufactured in America, you're gonna pay real bucks. Like, this is still a large board based on what my wallet says anyway. So my wallet says that this is a big old board in America, but we have this one rule. Let's just run with the JLC rule. We'll just design for that constraint, and that's fun enough for me. And this is still fun, so then that's kind of the idea too. So, but anyway, when I look at this one right here, my concern right now is because I came up with the mounting holes. Let's go back to Altium real quick. It's easier to see in Altium. I came up with the mounting holes. How do you work this? Oh, too many damn programs going on at once. So I got the mounting holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be plenty, even for a kid jumping on it, and God knows what they'll do. And that's another side tangent. It's great to design products for kids because they will invent ways to destroy that you just never seen. Like, is this thing peanut butter proof? We might find out. I wouldn't be surprised. That's happened before. So if we go to 3D, okay, so that's kind of a better, so that's a better idea where we are. But I originally had a much larger board, had them spaced out much wider. And I really don't know how wide I want these. It's kind of hard to tell or to know, like, what's the most fun width for a 9-year-old to play with faders that slide up and down. I don't know. So anyway, it was like at 130 millimeters. So I shoved these in. And anyway, going back to this thing, so I remember the mounting holes for this, and I haven't put them in the actual the case model yet, but they'll have standoffs built in, so I can just screw them straight down to the plastic. That's the idea. But what about the damn lid? And so I just made, again, this is first draft. Let's just throw it together. And when you're designing stuff, there's 10,000 considerations. You just got to jump in and do it, and you'll know what's wrong. You know you're going to have to go back to the board and all that sort of thing. So my plan here is I'll put a little half cylinder here, maybe there, and well, like so that'll be 2 sides for the lid, so the lid can be screwed straight down. But what about over here? Hope you guys can see that. I guess I could put one here. Another way would be I could put a hole in the board right where my mouse is and have a standoff that goes through the board. That makes me nervous because then my dimensions need to be dead right, and 3D printing, that's always kind of it's tricky no matter how hard you work to get it right. And I may end up printing 10 of these just to make one. So anyway, I got some options to figure out. Of course, this is really relatively easy. You know, we got these 0805 resistors. I use 0805 resistors for everything, and the reason for that is everything. I mean, all my SMD stuff. I don't use 0603s, and I don't use 1206s. 1206s are too big. 0603s are too small, basically. 0603, if you're trying to work with capacitors or resistors, it's just not fun to solder those things if you have to go in by hand. And I usually do because I screw everything up. So what I could do, let's go back to Altium so we could see what's going on. Number 2. I said 2. There. So I got this resistor, and again, this is rough. I mean, I haven't cleaned anything up. It's kind of just a disaster because this is a work in progress, and there's no need to pretty anything up yet. I could move these resistors back here, down here, out of the way. Maybe that'll let me move some faders. I could probably put some holes here instead, but I've got to figure out a way to get that case clamped down. So that's kind of where I'm at. And of course, I got the whole brain, which I haven't done yet. Is that around? We'll save that for another videos. But this is where I'm at with the light fader or the reading light fader box right now. And I don't know how much I've rambled. I'm learning how to do the video thing, so I don't even remember what I've said before. You know, the whole thing like, hello, Cleveland, and you're in, Jacksonville or whatever. So that's a good start. We'll keep going with this. Out.